The bell is back. North Central rode another hot second half to take down Wheaton 35-16, grab the CCIW's automatic playoff bid. But the season isn't over yet. We'll take a look at what's to come for Senior Day against Augustana College next on the Red Zone. Welcome inside the Red Zone. I'm Justin Zipser. North Central football head coach John Thorne joins us to open the show. And John, the bell is back. It's probably a good feeling. It's good to be a Cardinal this week for sure.
You know, it's great to be a Cardinal, yes. It was a lot of fun to get the bell back, and the guys really played well. We were very happy with their performance.
It was another game in which, I'm talking in reference to the Illinois Wesleyan game, in which a close first half, with two teams feeling each other out a little bit. You make your second half adjustments, and really in the second half, just like the Illinois Wesleyan game, you looked very good in this Wheaton game.
That's been kind of the story with this team, is sometimes we were able to make those adjustments even during the first half, but the close games we've had with Elmhurst, Wesleyan, and Wheaton at halftime, those were all close. Yep. Some really great adjustments took place at halftime. The players totally understood exactly what the coaches were talking about. The coaches were listening to what the players were saying. Hey, this is how they're lining up, this is what they're doing, and so on and so forth. And then came out and really executed things very well. So this was another one of those games. Plus, I think our guys are mentally tough to go a full 4 quarters, and so the last 2 weeks we needed to play deep into the fourth quarter to really secure everything.
Let's take a look back at this Wheaton game and see exactly how North Central executed to grab the bell. Battle for the Little Brass Bell in Wheaton. Spencer Stanek leads the CCIW in passing yards per game. Let's jump 6 minutes into the game. Wheaton working on its second series, and it's a good one. 9 plays and 80 yards culminates in this Jordan Roberts TD run from 33 yards out. Extra point miss, 6-0 Thunder. Cards don't waste time when they get the ball back. Stanek finds Sorensen near the left hash for a gain of 26. Ryan Kent moves North Central well into the red zone with this 16-yard run. 97 yards on the day for him. Next play, a simple slant to Chad OKane for the North Central TD. 7-6 Cards. North Central up at the half, 14-13. It only takes North Central 2.5 minutes to put points on the board in the third quarter. Sorensen from 36 yards out, 21-13 NCC. Next possession, Cards still rolling. 3rd and 9 over the middle for tight end A.J. Thomas. Later, Stanek gets great protection in the pocket, puts the ball only where Thomas can catch it on the near side. Next play, Wheaton's zone defense gets confused, leaves OKane wide open for a second touchdown of the day, 5th of the year. 28-13 North Central. Cards put the game away in the 4th, 16-play drive capped off by another Sorensen touchdown grab, this one from 19 yards out. He has 5 in the last 2 weeks. 35-16 is your final. North Central takes back the Little Brass Bell. Coach, after the game you talked a lot about how the players talked or played with courage. What do you mean by that?
Well, in football you get a lot of injuries, and sometimes injuries totally keep you out of playing, and sometimes the players are so tough that they play even though it hurts. And this year we've got some really tough people. And so 2 starters, Alex Tripp and Chad OKane, one from offense, one from defense, they're hobbling around on crutches on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but they're going to therapy day after day after day for as many hours as people let them keep doing therapy to try and get ready. And to have both of those guys play, but not just play, but play at a really high level, and to play basically all 4 quarters was a real testament to their courage, and it helped the whole rest of the team. Then in the game itself, Michael Monterrubio dislocated his shoulder. He went to the sideline, and they were able to get everything readjusted, and he went in and he popped out again. Came back to the sideline, he went back in, it popped out again. And so that's painful.
I'm sure it is, yeah.
And he made, and on all three of those plays, they were huge plays that he made when he got hurt, you know, and he comes walking off with his arm, you know, dangling way down to his side. But so a lot of guys showed some real toughness, and it was a pretty exciting thing to watch.
And I know as a coach, when you have the bell, and you've had the bell for a number of years, 5 of the last 6 years now, you put that in your office. So anytime you talk to a player in your office, the bell is there, kind of overseeing things. How important is the bell just being here in Naperville to the way you coach throughout a season?
Well, the funny thing is our new president loves hockey, and they have this thing called a Stanley Cup.
They do, yeah.
And it seems to be a pretty popular item. And the fun thing about it is it gets to tour all around. Mm-hmm. And it just so happened that on Thursday night there was this big president's dinner with the donors and so forth. And so Kathy and I are there. And afterwards we had a wonderful conversation with Rick Spencer, with Dr. Hammond, with Jim Godo, with Marty Sauer, all people that are really important to making things work for us in football. And the whole Stanley Cup thing came up, and all of a sudden they said, hey, we need to have this trophy, the bell, travel all over campus, get pictures everywhere. So it's not going to be sitting in my office, but during recruiting season it'll probably be pretty close to the office. And I just thought it was fantastic how excited they were and how much they really wanted the team to do well and to bring it back. And we shared that story with the players, and I'm telling you, the players, they wanted to get that trophy back because they knew how much fun it was going to be for not just them, but for lots of other people on campus. And so it's, I think it's going to be a fun off season.
I think, from what I could tell on social media, it ended up with Greg Whalen that first night. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see where it ends up throughout the season. Keep it right here. We continue to chat with Coach Thorne after the break.
Yes, ready. Let's go get it.
Oh, come on, Randy. Animal shelter, here I come. And no, I'm not crazy or emotionally damaged. That's a stereotype. I just belong to a total loser. I'm a good dog. So if you want a pet, adopt. And if you see Randy, tell him he dropped his wallet.
We are back inside the red zone. Coach Thorne still with us for a few more minutes. And Coach, I want to talk a little bit about your upcoming opponent in Augustana. Obviously, the good thing about last week, you won the bell, but also you locked up the CCIW's automatic bid to the postseason. So a little bit of pressure off your back as you enter your final weekend of the regular season.
Yes, but we'd like to prepare just as hard every single week for every opponent, and we have a lot of respect for Augustana. Their tradition is amazing. They've won 21 conference titles, which is far greater than anybody else. Mm-hmm. And so we know they're going to show up and really play a great game, which is exactly what we need to force us to continue to play hard to get ready for the playoffs. They're a triple option team. It's the only one we've played this year. And you really have to be disciplined. So our defensive guys are doing a great job of trying to convince the players, you know, hey, you've got to trust and you've got to control your gap. And anything that runs through there, don't worry whether he's got the ball or not. You got to tackle him because you don't know who has the ball. So yeah, I think it'll be a really exciting game for the defense because it's going to be so totally different than anything they've played against all year. It's an important game because a 10-0 record is huge difference than a 9-1 record when you're going into the playoffs.
Yep.
And with 9-1, our chance of staying at home is not that good. You know, at 10-0, we've got a chance certainly to have the first game at home, and maybe even more than the first game if we're lucky enough to keep winning.
That'll be good for us. We can keep on covering you guys. They have not given up, and I'm speaking they in accordance to your defense. In CCIW, they have not given up 300 yards to a single opponent throughout the season. How impressed are you by your defense? They are getting so good, and they're so fast, and really they have not given up anything to any CCIW opponents.
Well, you know, a lot of teams have been able to get some decent yardage in the first half, and then the guys make the adjustments. The players talk to each other, and they realize, okay, here's how they're trying to block me. Here's what technique I need to be using, and so on and so forth. And it's just been so exciting to watch them completely get control of the game and force a lot more punts, get the ball back to the offense. And then the offense, in many times in the second, we like to be fast-paced, but once we start to get in control of the game, we want to eat the clock up. And last week against Wheaton, the last drive was almost 8 minutes, which was a great job. And that gives the defense a lot of rest, which also helps them, you know, in the second half.
We mentioned that the bell is back, and we talked to a couple of players about that in this week's What's the Word?
Oh, this is awesome. I mean, this has been the goal all year, you know, to get to this game, to beat Wheaton. Ever since last year, we've had a bad taste in our mouth, and everything we've done in the off-season, in summer, spring, in camp up to this point has been for right now, this moment. So right now, it's just awesome. Everyone worked so hard and played really tough, and Wheaton put up a good fight, but it's just really, really fun. I'm having a good time right now.
I mean, it's kind of inexplainable. We've been talking about it for, the last year pretty much, about beating Wheaton and getting the bell back for us. And, for the seniors, it's always good to go out on top in the conference and stuff like that. And to win it outright and everything is always a good thing. So we're excited. We want to win every single game that we play in, so we're not going to take them lightly. They've always given us a good game every time we play them. So, we're just going to focus on beating them this week and then moving on to the next weeks after that.
We'll celebrate this one tonight, but Monday morning we'll be focused on Augie, and we'll take care of business. We got to finish it up, finish strong, get that playoff spot, get that undefeated conference record. That's our goal, and so we're not going to look past any opponent.
So last week of the regular season, I know you want to finish strong. I know you want to beat Augustana and get that unbeaten record. What would it mean to you as a coach, seeing as it's senior day, you want to see these seniors get out with that unblemished regular season record?
Well, I think we've mentioned several times how special this senior class is, and it just doesn't seem possible that we're up to their last home college game of a regular season. So I can't wait to shake hands and give them and their parents a hug and thank them for all they've done for North Central College and how much fun it was to have them in our program. And but I don't want them to get too sad and too much thinking that this is over yet, because we want to keep playing for quite a while if possible. And so it'll be I hope that every senior gets a chance to make one of their best plays of their whole career somehow, sometime during this game. So we're certainly going to try to give them some opportunities to do that.
Well, they will have a lot of opportunities against Augustana again this Saturday. Coach, thanks so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
That's it for Coach, but don't go anywhere. Next on the Red Zone, we're joined by a couple of important players from this past weekend's win.
Hi, my name's CJ. A few years ago, my father became seriously ill. I did what I could do before he passed, but it took its toll. I lost my job, my house. I'm getting back on my feet, but I don't know when there'll be food on the table. How'd I do, CJ?
We could be twins.
Well, cousins, maybe.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
We're back inside the red zone. Wide receiver Chad OKane and defensive lineman Brian Wilson with us to begin our second half of the show. Guys, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
So, Chad, you are a senior, and this being senior day, how important for you is to have this bell back from Wheaton from last week in your senior day game?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, this is the biggest game of my career thus far. It was the most fun I've ever had in a game. Wheaton being the only conference loss I've ever had in my career was pretty tough last year, and it left that taste in your mouth that nobody wants to have. So we thought about it all year as our motivation, all off season to come back and win the way we did. And it's going to be huge having it being there for my senior day, which will be pretty emotional.
And Coach Thorne was talking to us about how you had to battle some injuries heading into the Bell game. You had that deep thigh contusion. You were on crutches from what we could tell up until Thursday. What is it about the adrenaline that gets pumping before this Wheaton game, leading up to that game in the week, that maybe kind of lets you overcome some pretty serious injuries?
Yeah, it was tough. All week it hurt a lot. I was on crutches until Thursday mornings when I got off. But just having the back of my mind, knowing I was playing Wheaton that weekend helped a lot. I was in the trainer's room close to 4 hours every single day because I don't have classes in the morning, so I was able to get a lot of treatment and stuff. But there's just no way I was going to be sitting out of this game. The team needed me. I felt like I would be letting them down if I didn't play, and I just did everything I could to get in that game.
And Brian, second half, defensive line really started to turn that light on. That light bulb went off over your collective heads in a sense, where you really started to attack Jordan Roberts, get into his kind of pocket, and force him to make some throws that maybe he didn't want to make. What do you think was the key for your defensive line that second half?
Definitely adjustments over halftime. We knew going in that he had the option of running. We knew that we had to keep a balanced pass rush, keep him in the pocket, and we knew eventually we would get there. And during the first half, John Ficosi, multiple opportunities to get there, didn't hit on him, but we just knew that him, Alex, Josh, me, we knew we were going to get them to him eventually. So we just kept on pounding, kept on just working, and then we got there a couple times. Like you said, forced them to have a couple bad passes, and then that interception in the end. So it was just collectively, halftime adjustments, and then just, the knowledge that they were going to throw, and just knowing that eventually we would get there.
Now, obviously, this is going to be senior day coming up for you guys. What kind of example do you think this senior class has set for you?
A big example, coming in as freshmen when they were sophomores, watching them lift, watching them, just their work ethic, it was unbelievable. It really drove us as a class to just strive to meet that, to, try and almost outdo them in a sense, but also just to try and just watch them and learn from them. And these 3 years have just been amazing. They're an amazing group. They just open up to us. Our team chemistry right now is amazing, and it's all because of them. And I don't know what we would do without them. I mean, it's going to be a hard game. It's going to be an emotional game. But I know, we're all juniors, sophomores, freshmen. We're fighting for them. We got to get that W, send them out on a good note.
And we always talk about how close some of these players become while on the team. And as we take a look on this week's Cardinal Corner, some start bonding before they even get to Naperville.
Talk to any North Central player, and they'll refer to teammates as a second family. After spending nearly 4 years together in some cases, it's easy to see why. But brothers Ryan and Adam Sidarsky and Greg Whalen have been around each other for much longer.
We played against each other in like little kid basketball from 5th grade until 8th grade. And then in 6th grade we played on a traveling team for our high school. And we became really good friends freshman year of football though.
The two brothers and unofficial third were good friends at Marion Central Catholic High School. Whalen was a regular fixture at the Sidarsky household, and the trio was a regular fixture on the football field. When it came to picking a school for college football, Greg decided on North Central early on and had to convince his two friends to come with him to Naperville.
We all took different visits, but on the overnight, we all came together and we all had a really good time. And pretty much the next day after that, we all decided that we wanted to go there.
And like any new college student, they had trouble transitioning.
Being together really helped us through that tough transitional period. We've talked about it, probably wouldn't have finished out here at North Central if we didn't have one another.
They've made it all the way to this week in a game that celebrates this senior class. The trio see the end on the horizon, but want to keep playing North Central football for as long as possible.
It's going to be really weird. I really hate thinking about it right now. It just makes me sad and depressed. So I just hope we go as far as we can and I'm not going to start thinking about that till it happens.
You know, once a brother, always a brother. He's a phone call away if we're ever separated by distance, but if not, I mean, we're still going to be hanging out, hometown. I can't see anything changing otherwise.
So, Chad, the offense, we've talked a lot about this year with Coach and some of the players that have been on the show about how this fast-paced offense is sort of kind of taking the shackles off. You're really free to do some kind of things that you haven't been doing before in previous years. What has this offense meant to you in your senior year?
It's definitely helped winning games and getting plays off. The faster we can go, the more defense are going to get tired. We keep them in certain fronts or coverages that maybe they want to get out of to certain formations just because we're snapping the ball so fast. And it just keeps them on their toes. And they're just having a hard time keeping up, and it's really helping our offense produce.
And you and Peter Sorensen and Ryan Rizak, DeMarco Tillman have really made a good receiving core. What has led to your success among that group? I know Spencer has a lot of targets to choose from. Why does he go to you as many times as he does?
I don't know, just playing together. I got some solid playing time in 2010 or 2011 rather, when he was still the starting quarterback for us, and it's having that chemistry, working together all off season. I mean, me, him, and Peter were on the field almost every single day throwing. And it's just the trust I think we have with each other. I mean, Spence, you don't even need to say it, how awesome he is. The numbers he's putting up is incredible. So on his end, we know he's going to get the job done, put the ball where it needs to be. And I think it's just vice versa with that. He just feels comfortable throwing us the ball.
And Spencer named the CCIW Player of the Week on the offensive side of the ball for, I think, the fourth time now. Nick Slezak on the defensive side of the ball named the CCIW Player of the Week. Brian, we mentioned with Coach that you're going to be facing a triple option this week against Augustana. What kind of preparation goes into that, knowing that it's an offense that maybe you don't have much experience with as far as this year goes?
We're really just going back to the basics this week. We're a gap defense. We're just working on right now just our basics, staying in your gap, getting extension, shedding your blocks, and just making a football play. If the ball, you just tackle the guy who comes to you. If the guy has the ball, the guy has the ball. If the guy doesn't have the ball, someone else is going to tackle him. Maybe for no gain, maybe for a little gain. We're just going back to the basics, playing our base defense, and we're just going to go out there and play our stuff.
And knowing that you've had to fill in kind of spots on the defensive line where maybe there's some injuries, you've been fantastic in that role this year. How do you prepare for that? And obviously, we talked a lot about with players this year that have been able to get those opportunities when injuries come up. What do you do personally?
It's just mentally being just focused the entire time. Knowing that I may play this position for this series, but maybe next series someone's tired, someone's injured. I may have to go on to the next one. It's just having confidence in myself that I know I can do it. Defensive tackle and defensive end in our defense are the same thing. We just read our key and go from there. Sometimes a little change in stunts, but I know all the stunts, and it's just a thing of just playing football and just being the athlete that I know I am, and just, like I said, just playing football.
You guys have been fantastic this year. We really appreciate you coming on, and good luck on Senior Day.
Thank you.
When we return, North Central Sports Information Director Clark Tusher joins us to talk about the new winter season kicking off here on the Red Zone.
Today is Saturday. 60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. Get ideas. Get involved. Get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov.
The Red Zone is back. We wrap up another episode with North Central SID, Clark Tusher. Clark, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
We have another good season stepping up here. The winter season about set to begin. Let's focus on basketball this week. Men's and women's both getting set to tip off their respective seasons. Let's begin with men. They're coming off the season which basically was their most successful season ever. 28 wins, Final Four appearance for the first time. How do you top that?
Well, that's a good question. We've got a large senior class this year that's been a big part of the resurgence in the program in the last few years, and it's their chance to kind of put their stamp for the final time on the program. They're really motivated to do that. They've had a really productive preseason. They had a couple of scrimmages that went pretty well against outside competition, and already fighting off a couple of nagging injuries here and there. So we may try to limit some guys' minutes this weekend and try to get a lot of guys in the rotation and just kind of see who's going to be in a position to help them going forward.
The team basically has its top 6 rotation set. those are the 6 guys coming back from last year. What were the couple of new guys that we could look out for as possible standouts for this team?
Well, Tyler Sutton was a freshman on the team last year and had a chance to play a little bit before he got hurt. So they're going to look for him to kind of work his way back into the rotation there. We had a junior forward, Tyler Every, who's a big 6'7" guy that could help down in the low post. Also, had an injury last year that set him back. And we got another sophomore forward, Kevin Hahn, who's about a 6'4" wing player who can shoot it pretty well. Really performed well on the junior varsity program last year as a freshman. So they're going to be looking for him to take that next step and start helping out.
But of course, most of the scoring load is going to be set on Landon Gamble's shoulders. And so far, preseason-wise, he's been given a lot of preseason awards.
Landon's preseason All-American, All-Conference, everything, whatever you want to call it, by multiple organizations, and it's all well-deserved. He has had a phenomenal career and was a great player for the team last year. Probably, shouldn't, be looked at as the only scoring option this year. Certainly, the post game is always a focus in Coach Reardon's offense, but a lot of guys who can shoot the ball on the outside, and he's got some inside help with Jack Burchett as well.
And the conference is pretty stacked this year. CCIW is very stacked. According to D3Hoops.com, Illinois Wesleyan ranks 2nd, Wheaton ranked 5th, North Central rounds that out with 6th. So such a tough time coming back this year. You have to repeat a lot of success, and you have to do it against a conference that has basically gotten pretty much a lot better across the board.
And that's where senior leadership tends to come to the forefront when you have multiple tough games right in a row. We have a stretch of 3 straight road games in late January, early February with Augustana, Wheaton, and Wesleyan, which is going to really probably be a defining stretch of games as far as how the conference finish is going to shake out. So this will be an opportunity, again, for this group of seniors to kind of leave its legacy and decide how they want to leave this program.
And moving over to women's basketball, they're also getting started later this week, and we talked a little bit about them last week, but just to short things up a little bit, I want to talk a little bit about Lauren Shoemaker, who is one of the 5 juniors coming back with a lot of experience. I think she's very important to this team. I want to see if you agree as well, because a lot of perimeter shooting, she's one of the lone post players in this offense.
That's one of the things that tends to get overlooked with this system. You have all the 3-pointers and the steals and those kinds of things. But having a post player who's athletic and can run the middle of the floor is going to get a lot of opportunities for open shots. Lauren proved that she was able to do that last year. They kind of worked out a 2-person rotation last season between her and Emily Murphy. And I think they're going to try and work with a similar kind of arrangement this year. And hopefully make sure that while we're trying to get the open looks from the outside, but the layup is there as well when that much defensive pressure has to come out to the arc. So I think she's got a chance to have a really good year after being an all-conference selection last year as well.
2nd team all-conference. Good thoughts as always, Clark. We appreciate you stopping by.
You got it.
That's all for this week. North Central hosts Augustana College this Saturday. It's Senior Day, and it kicks off at 1 p.m. Join us for the game live right here on NCTV 17. I'm Justin Zipser. We'll see you next week on the Red Zone.